We're live. Hello, 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 hello. How are you? How you doing? I have a mess here. I just ran in here and jumped on because I realized I was supposed to be on. Okay, so we're gonna get all this out of the way for the moment. Okay, how we doing? Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to bmascraftycorner. My name is Bema, better known as Els, and we are working on a steampunk journal. If I can get all this stuff out of the way, hold on. So much stuff. Okay, so we are working on a album journal, and this is a steampunk theme. So we got started yesterday. We put in a flip. So an album journal is basically a scrapbook album that we add a journal element to. So this is from a company that was called Heartfelt Creations. They're no longer in existence, but we build these ourselves if we want to. But this one here actually comes from the company, and you can see it's got these like 5 fins in it. And so what we do is we go in and we decorate the fins, but then we put journal signatures in between each fin. So we make this a journal album. So I was playing around last night with a couple of things, just trying to decide what I wanted to do here. And I thought that I could take this. Now, this is one of the pieces. These come in sets. And there's different pieces in each set. So we have a few sets for this journal, for this particular album. We have pockets and flip fold inserts B and F. So this one is like a stacked pocket. And then this one has like some really long pieces in it. Like this is 21 inches long. And this one over here has one that is 13.5 by 9.25. So these are huge pieces, and we're going to take them and add them in here. Hello, Miss Mari. Hello, Michelle. You're never late. So yesterday I was playing around with some of these flip pieces, and I took one of the ones that, does this thing, and I cut it down and made this out of it. Now, hopefully that's straight this time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a big pocket out of this on one of these. I don't know which one. We're probably going to work with maybe this one. But we're going to have a big pocket there on this side. And then on this side, that will give us a flip. Okay? So we are going to have to cover this page in order to put this in. And then I used what was left of it to make a belly band that we can use on a page. And we still have a whole bunch of other pieces here that we're going to be working with. Specifically this one. This is the next one I'm working on. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that, but we're going to put some paper on this. So let's get that done. Let me grab the steampunk paper. Here it is. Ah! And everything comes crashing down. It's just one of those days. Hello, Marie. It is. It is just one of those days. I'm telling you. Let's see. Kind of like that. So we're going to do that. All right. So our pages are, I believe, 8.5 by 6 3/4. So let's take a look. Nope. See, that's 6.5 by 8.5. So 6.5 by 8.5. So we need a piece that is 6 by 8 to fit on here. So let's get that cut. Get out of the way. Let's get that 6 by 8. So first I'm going to do is trim the edge off. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and get 6. And then we have to get 8, which I think is pretty much going to be like right at the limit of this. It's going to be about as close to 8 as it gets, because it's on a piece of paper that's 8.5 inches wide. All right, so it's going to be a little bit less than the 8. That's okay. Why? Because we have washi tape. We could add washi tape if we need to make it look fuller. All right. So that is our piece of paper. We're going to set that and take a look and see how it works on our page. Now, it also doesn't have to be the full width because we're going to put a pocket on it. So. God, he's such a brat. All right, so that's going to be right there. And then we're going to have our pocket. Let me see. Where's my pocket? Here it is. So that's going to be right there. So I think we're good. All right, so let's ink this and put it down. My dumb butt still hasn't ordered the re-inker. I got to order the re-inker. So, how's everybody doing? Everybody's still alive. I did hear from Christine yesterday. She was okay. She was running for a meeting, and that's why she didn't respond. But she did pop in just to say hi, and she did get back to me, let me know that she was okay. All right. Because we were just doing check-ins yesterday. Yeah. Because I hadn't talked to you ladies in 2 days, you know? I get worried. I get nervous. All right, so now we're going to glue this in. Glue. Gluey, gluey, glue. Let it flow, let it flow. Don't give it any pressure now. Let it flow. Because it's a full bottle. Let it flow, let it flow. If I squeeze this bottle, it's pandemonium. It's like, what a disaster. Oh, crap. Okay, hold on. All right, give me a second. That just went glue down on my shirt. So let me, I gotta get this rinsed out. I'll be right back. Okay. I've made that mistake before with that glue. New shirt. Hi, Christine. Okay, so this, in order to connect it, I'm going to put glue here, here, and just a little dot right there because it's going to wrap around a page. And that's going to create the bottom of the pocket. So we don't need a whole lot to glue this in. You know what I mean? So I'm going to find the sides, top and bottom. There we go. Now, I'm going to get some clamps out because when you're working with this, I don't know if you guys have this familiar problem, but when you're working with this paper, craft paper, depending upon how thick your craft paper is, I got ink on my cover, it may or may not glue easily. I don't know why. I really don't. It just does this weird thing where it just doesn't want to glue. And yeah, it's just funny. It's because, I know why. It's because it's very porous. And so it doesn't want to, the glue soaks in. It doesn't sit on the top and glue like we expect it to. Okay. So now we have this piece over here, which is our flip, and this is not going to fit. So let's see what we'll put on here. No, 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 no. No, no. No. It's a flip. I want it to be a little bit more bold. Let's do this guy. Or this guy. Let's do this guy. Okay, we're going to do this guy. Or that guy. No, we're going to use this one. Okay, here we go. I'll change my mind 15 times, but we're going to do this. About a month to arrange it. What services I give. Well, freaking awesome. I went through all that stuff with my mom. When my mom got sick, like really sick, she moved in with me. And then, I got her back to status quo, so to speak. And then she wanted to be on her own again. And I don't blame her. She'd lived on her own for years, and her independence was important. So we went about finding what was right for her. And what we found was housing here in Vegas that was not far from my house. It was only a couple of minutes down the road. I could get to her in like under 5 minutes by car. And you should measure this. It was living on your own, but it was in a it was in a building that was like a lot of seniors. And because there were a lot of seniors there, they had some things in place, some precautions in place. And so there were a few things I had to teach her dog. She had a service dog. And the dog needed a few behaviors. One, there was an emergency pull cord inside the unit that if she needed something, she could pull that and the light would go on outside the unit so that her neighbors knew that she was in distress. And so I needed to teach the dog to use the pull cord in case something happened to her, that the dog would know how to alert the neighbors. Now, the dog already knew to bring her the phone. The dog could push her hassock to her so she could use it to get up, and knew to lay on the other side of it so that it wouldn't roll. So if she fell, she could get up, providing she was in a situation, where they could get the hassock in there. But they also had, they got Meals on Wheels started for her. They got Jude 42, which is a charity that provides groceries to her. And they didn't deliver them to her apartment. They delivered them to the community. And she would go over and there would be somebody there and they would help her do some shopping, get her some food. And it was really just kind of staples, like bread, cereal, coffee, sugar, that kind of stuff. The regular groceries, like she would have to go get. Then there was a charity that would come in that would bring canned goods that they would get, from donation. So we got her a lot of those services. And then I had a home health care nurse for her. So, yeah. But it took a long time to get all of that stuff processed, All right, so I think we're glued now. So now we have a big pocket here that we can put a large journaling card in. And then when we open that, there's a flip and we'll have a big area here. I don't know what we're going to do, but, that's our big, But you have to, like, I don't know why they make it so difficult. Because and then there were some services that even if she didn't want that service, she had to have that service in order to have, like, she had to be signed up for June 2022 or 24 or 42 or whatever it was. But she had to be signed up for that before they would put her on the Meals on Wheels list. If that makes any sense. Because it didn't make any sense to me. Like, if she doesn't want that, why force her to have it in order to get the service that she needs? I don't know. They do some weird stuff. But, in the end, we had all the things that she needed in place. We have this belly band too. We'll put in here somewhere. I don't know where we're going to put it. We're going to put it in there someplace. All right. Now, we had already decided we needed to print, and my internet went down last night when I was getting ready to print everything, and my printer doesn't work without internet. Can you imagine that? So we're going to get that done. So how is everybody doing? I mean, are we good? Is everybody still holding together? Anybody have issues with, any storm damage or anything? Or are we good? Because I worry. Let's see. All right, let's see. Yes, yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, Christine, they absolutely are. Um, and it's not just the home services either. What did my mother in the end? Okay, my mom had Hep C. She lived with it for years. Was not an issue. And she tried all the new things as they came down the pipeline. She did the Pegasus protocol. It almost killed her. She did another one. That one left her with severe burns in her mouth because she had a reaction to one of the chemicals used. So, she did all the things. And when she came to live with me, she had a huge hernia from a previous surgery where it had torn open. Um, she had internal and external uh, growth on her buttocks. Um, and then she'd had like 3 heart attacks and a couple of small strokes. And my brother just he wasn't capable of taking care of her. Not that he wasn't financially or physically or mentally, it was emotional for him. That was his best friend. My mom and him were best friends. And he could not see his mom like that. So he tended to go into hyper kid mode, like really infantile kid mode, whenever her medical came up. And I was done. I had spent years quitting jobs, taking my PTO, flying up, driving out, because I've lived out of the state of California for most of my life. I've lived in other countries or I've lived in other states. And I was constantly like quitting my job to drive up from Arizona to where she lived in Southern California to take care of her because he could not do that. He could not emotionally handle that. And I'll tell you, it was absolutely beyond ridiculous. But she was in a bad condition, in a bad way, and I knew that if I didn't deal with the issue at the time, that we would just end up losing her, and it would just be the way that it was, and that is horrible. So, what was that? Ugly sin. So I knew that I had to do something drastic. So my something drastic was to bring her here. So from Southern California to here, my brother went over and helped pack up. My brother and his daughters went over and they packed her stuff up, put it on a trailer on the back of his truck, and they brought her out here. And she lived with me for about 4 years while we got her through the medical, because she had to have like 4 different surgeries. She needed an electric wheelchair that she didn't have because she couldn't really, like if she went to the grocery store and she held onto the cart, she was okay for maybe 10 items. But beyond that, she needed to be in a car, in one of those carts. And so I knew she needed an electric wheelchair because there was no way that she could enjoy life. She couldn't get in her truck and go to a casino and, hang out, play bingo, meet up with her friends. She couldn't do that. And then she would do some stuff that was like off the rails. But trying to get all of the services in place for her was a freaking nightmare. And it was what put her in that condition, in the final condition, was she was in her house. She had a treadmill for walking. She forgot to turn it off, and she was standing on it to water a plant, and she accidentally hit the power button. And it went out from under her, and her foot went through the wall, and she broke her toe, but she ended up with like a 50-cent size hematoma on her leg. Okay, so we go to the hospital. Now, the hospital she goes to, they know they can't do anything because I'm her medical guardian. They can't do anything without my signature. And so I go in there and I was like, okay, what are we thinking of doing here? Well, we can let it, sit and see if it just reabsorbs back into the body, or we can, aspirate it and take out the clot. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Well, they called down the surgeon. The surgeon didn't do anything as far as anesthesia or anything, just basically like sprayed it, with the stuff that freezes stuff. Okay, great. But she did that. She cut it open. She pushed the clots out, and then she left it. She wrote no orders for dressing, to have the dressings changed. She wrote no orders for aftercare of any kind. They took her upstairs. I was actually traveling for my business at the time. So I had to leave that night. So I said, okay, I'll be back in 2 days. She was like, okay. I said, you're here. They'll take care of you. Everything's great. I left. 2 days later, I came back. She was in the same hospital gown she had been in. Nobody had changed the dressing. It had bled through. And I guess at one point, one of the nurses realized that it had bled through. And instead of them changing the dressing, they just covered it with more dressing. So she had the original dressing on it. And then here's the worst part of it. Because after that, they were like, well, she broke her toe. She's got this hematoma, and she broke her shoulder as well. And so they were like, well, she's going to have to go to a rehab. They sent her to the rehab. The rehab sent her back because now she had gangrene in her leg. I finally ripped this thing open and said, why the hell wasn't, well, the doctor didn't order any dressing changes. Do you not realize that it has to be done? So we ended up going from this like 50-cent size piece on her leg to an infection that was about this big. And she had to go in a hyperbaric chamber, and we had to have a pump put on it to stimulate the white blood cells to get the skin to grow. And it was thousands of dollars that Social Security didn't pay. And then I take her into the hospital one time because they were going to try and put a skin graft on it. And they ended up putting her in, and everybody who was in that OR that day was exposed to some kind of flesh-eating bacteria. So she was quarantined. It was ridiculous. And then when I finally called the lawyer and I said, this is stupid. She's being made to suffer. They basically told me she was worthless. Hi, Aurora. They basically said, you can't get a settlement because she's worthless. She's senior. She's on Social Security. There's no out-of-pocket money loss here. I was like, wait a minute. No. I have lost thousands of dollars. Well, she hasn't lost anything. Okay, but I'm her legal guardian. Can I not sue on her behalf? Well, you can only sue for what she's lost. So if a friend or a family pays your medical bills for you or helps you out with medical appliances and stuff, and then you get screwed, they can't get their money back. They can't sue for that. At least in the state of Nevada. So, yeah. So I don't know why they make it so difficult and why they make it so all over the place. But trying to get care for seniors, you got to find your advocate, somebody who knows what they're doing, and stick with them. I didn't know that at the beginning. I was trying to do it on my own. I finally found a seniors advocate through the senior center. And it wasn't even the senior center. It was the Center for Elder Abuse, for the Prevention of Elder Abuse. They helped me and got all the services and stuff that we needed for her. And it took 4 years to get everything in place, but we finally got her place, and she was able to get her own apartment. She could have her service animal with her. She had her own little patio, which was actually nice sized. And she had neighbors that she talked to on the regular, and she had her little apartment, and her rent was based on her income. And so she was able to live on her own again. So, yeah. You're very welcome. So, yeah. All right, so this is going to be the front page of this. Like, this is going to be the first one you see. And I'm thinking maybe this. Let's trim this out and see. And I know that, we do get to a certain age where we go, screw it. We don't want to deal with it anymore. And I just, I hate to think what would have happened to her if she had to do it on her own. If she had to get that care on her own, because I know my mom would have given up. She'd have been very stoic, Well, I don't need it. People need it more than I do. No, short lady, you need it. She would not have seen it that way if she had to do it on her own. All right, so 6 by 8. I want this. So we're going to go this way. 6. Save that. 8. So, Christine, if you have somebody that's working with you, that's trying to help you get, everything that you need in place, hallelujah. Because there are places, California is actually pretty good. When my mom was in California, and see, I didn't know this, otherwise I never would have taken her out of California. First off, my mom needed a liver transplant. If I had known that the state of California would pick up the other $150,000 that she needed above what Social Security would have paid, I would have never moved her out of California. They paid my niece to go in and clean her house, and take care of her dog and take her to her appointments and all that other stuff. The benefits in California were great for senior citizens and for people on disability. I got her here. We found out she needed a liver transplant. And like right off the bat, the doctor who did it came out of LA, because there are no specialists here in Vegas for that. So the doctor that was taking care of her, he's like, well, too bad she doesn't live in California, because in California, they would go ahead and they would cover that and she could get right in and get her liver transplant. Because, oh, yes, before you get a liver transplant, you must have that $150,000 deposited to the hospital. And I was like, how the hell am I supposed to come up with $150,000? And he goes, well, you could try like crowdsourcing it and like put up a GoFundMe or something, and that usually helps. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to work. Because my mom was in her 60s. It's not like she's some little kid. Well, we did it like they told us to. I think she got $5 in donations towards $150,000. Well, see that? She's got cats. The cats won't let her screw shit up. But yeah, I mean, like she went from California would pay her her co-payment for her Medicare for the Social Security disability. She was on disability first. They would pay for her disability copay, and they covered all her hospital copays and her doctor copays. So she went to the doctor, she gave them her Social Security disability card. They ran that, and then she had the other insurance through the state that would pay the copay. So she never paid a dime out of pocket. They would have paid for the transplant. They would have paid for the rehab afterwards. They would have paid for all of that. They would have paid for the home health care. When she did have a home health care nurse to come over with wound care, I had to pay that woman $15 every time she walked in the door. The state here in Nevada doesn't pay for any of that. Not a dime. They didn't pay for the Social Security disability copay. They didn't pay, for her Medicare plan. They didn't pay for any of that. Yeah, it was like stupid, ridiculously dumb. But your state really does matter what you pay and don't pay. When Sandy was living here, she would go, she'd go to the doctor, and some things were paid for. She had transportation to and from the doctor. She had her disability because, the pacemaker, but she would still get bills for copays and stuff. And then she went to Ohio with her sister, and there she doesn't pay a dime. Nothing. They pay for everything. Transportation, everything. It's all covered. I don't think they're the best doctors on the planet. That's for shit sure. But, they pay for everything. So. There's at least that. But I don't think that it should vary by state like that. I think it should be, pretty standard as a standard of care. But it's not. But see, that's just it. It wasn't bleeding. Like it wasn't to compress it for the bleeding. There was no order to change the dressing. So even though it was oozing a greenish colored fluid, common sense would say that could be an infection. They didn't see it that way. So then she ended up with gangrene. At one point, she even tried to get them to bring her the stuff, and she changed the dressing herself. No, they weren't really having any of that. They were like, that could open us up to a lawsuit, but this couldn't. People need to get your aristocratic shit together. And then at one point, I just told him, you know what? I said, I have my EMT. My mother was an EMT. I told him to keep their nurse at home. I don't need it anymore. I'm not paying for it. I have all the supplies here because, we had to buy the supplies too. So I had all the supplies there. And I just went over every day. My mom changed it in the morning and I changed it in the afternoon. That way I could check, the tunnels and everything and get the packing out and redo the packing because she couldn't do the packing. It was too difficult. Yeah, exactly, Christine, exactly. You get to a point where you're like, no, screw this. Screw it. And I'll tell you what, and this is the one thing that pissed me off more than anything. Pardon my French, YouTube, but see, I don't know many people. Like, I know everybody, most of the people that come on this channel know that my mom passed away from hepatitis C. What they don't know is that my mother got that not from a bad blood transfusion or dirty needles or, any of the other ways you get hep C. My mom got it because she put her finger in a guy's chest who was dying following a car accident. He went off a bridge, and that's crooked as hell, and I don't care. I'm going to cover it anyway. He went off a bridge, and the guardrail sliced into his chest, and he was bleeding out from his heart because it had punctured his heart. And my mom was the first paramedic on the scene, and she didn't have any equipment with her because it was a volunteer ambulance department. So they would call out, the paramedics would come from their homes, and then whoever was on duty would go over to the ambulance department, pick up the ambulance and bring it out to the scene. So you could be there for 15, 20 minutes without an ambulance. So all you have is what you carry in your own med kit, which was very basic at the time. Because this is back in the day when paramedics weren't allowed to really do a lot of the stuff that they're trained to do today. So she gets there, and there's this guy in his car at the bottom of a ravine. Half the car's in the lake. He's buckled into the front seat. There's a piece of the guardrail in through the window into his chest. And my mom notices that it's pumping. So this was back before really, gloves and stuff. We're talking the early to mid 70s. So my mother did what you do, and she put her hand in there, and she realized that it had put a nick in one of his arteries going into his heart. She could feel it pumping out. So she just went in there and pinched it and held it. And no more blood was coming out. So she figured, okay, we're good. She didn't hold it across. She pinched the slice. The fire department showed up, jaws of life, the whole 9 yards. This was a brand new tool, by the way. They cut him out of the car. They got him on the gurney. One of the other paramedics said, hey, Patty, let him go. And she went, no, you don't understand. I'm holding his heart right now. And it's a 40-minute ride to the hospital. Now, they're already into the golden hour, like an hour into the golden hour, 45 minutes to the hospital. So this guy's not getting medical care for 2 hours. But she kept her hand in there. When they got her to the emergency room, which thankfully was the only trauma center in the area, they were like, you can get off of him now. And she's like, no, I can't. And the doctor was like, what? And she goes, put your hand over here. So the doctor came in with his hand, puts his fingers into this hole, which was probably about the size of a softball. And she lets go. And he goes, oh, crap, grab it. And so she grabs it. And so they ended up covering and draping her and taking him into emergency surgery. They cracked his chest and they sewed this up. Years later, my mother gets a note from the guy's wife. Hey, just wanted to let you know he had hepatitis C. So she got a hep C from him. And I would take her to the hospital when she got sick, like if there was an issue. I would take her to the hospital, and the minute they heard she had hep C, they would look down their noses like she was some kind of scumbag. And I used to get so pissed over that. Oh my God. Like, my mom was not my favorite person. We all know this. But she was a human being, and she deserved to be treated with respect. All right, I got 4.5, so we're gonna go 4.25. So we're gonna go 4.25 over and see where we're at. So 4.25 gives us half on this side, half on that side. I'm good with that. Excuse me. But yeah, you need to be your own advocate. And I tell everybody, when you're sick and you're experiencing medical issues and you're in the hospital, there's 2 words you want to know: patient advocate. A patient advocate is not paid by the insurance company, is not paid by the hospital. This is not somebody who is paid by, any entity that stands to gain from them. A patient advocate is a federal employee that works as part of the hospital's advisory board. And their job only is to advocate between the medical, the insurance, and the patient. And they advocate for the patient in every case. I don't care if you need a fan in your room and they won't bring it to you, okay? And I'll tell you, that terrorizes them too. If you go, I need the patient advocate, immediately they will do whatever you ask, because they know that this person holds a lot of sway. This person's going to make sure that, whether or not they're accredited for the care that they're giving. And those specialized care labs, like a cardiac lab or, a respiratory lab, all of those are big money. So that patient advocate can make or break a hospital. Seriously, even if you don't like the food, call the patient advocate. And I don't care if it's for you or if it's for somebody you care about that's in the hospital, even if it's just a friend and you're there for them. Those 2 words terrify everybody in a hospital. And yes, there is a patient advocate at every hospital. No, they may not be on when you need them immediately, but I'll guarantee you, as soon as they get in on their shift, they'll show up. Because that, my darlings, is their whole purpose for being. Matter of fact, there's a guy on I've been seeing him on Facebook a lot and on Instagram, where he calls insurance companies and you denied the claim. This guy needs to have his hand reattached, and you are denying it because you say it's cosmetic, because it's not his dominant hand. That's a patient advocate. Oh yeah. They will seriously call insurance companies and call them on their bullcrap. It is hysterical. All right, what are we going to put on here? Now, we could put a background on it, or, and I've never really done this with this one, but we could just put a belly band, and the background could be the journaling card. What do you guys think? Because it's going to be mostly covered by this, which means you're going to see a little bit, let's say this is our journaling card. If we put that in there, you're still going to see, some of it over here. So we don't really need to put, what do you think? What do we think? Let's gotta work together here, guys. I'm telling you, I'm sweating balls today. It is, they say it's 67 degrees, but it's not. It's been like 75 here all week. And I get buggy today. Yay, get my bug. Yeah, so we're in the 70s and I'm heat flashing. Oh, lovely day. Oh, happy day. Not really. Yeah, because my temperature's only 97, but I'm sweating. I have to laugh. I went to the doctor to see the nurse practitioner about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, to get a refill on a prescription. I told you guys I had to go. And I went, and the lady took my temperature and my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was like 114/55. And my temperature was like 96.4. And she's like, so you've been dead about 15 minutes? And I said, yeah, pretty much. I run that way. Oh, I'd love a little wind. We don't have any. Yeah, but see, Aurora, you have to do that. You have to take care of these things. If you don't, and you leave it up to the medical, oh my God, they are practicing. They don't know what they're doing. Okay. Good. Fire your primary. Oh my God. I had a nurse say this to me the other day. Nurse practitioner. Mike and I went to see the nurse practitioner on Monday. Because remember I told you guys my doctor retired. And he said, I'm going to give you a year's refill on everything. Okay? Follow this. So he wrote the refill for a year. He goes, that'll give you time to find another doctor and, be comfortable. And we were like, okay. So we left. Well, he apparently filled different prescriptions for different lengths of time. My sertraline was only filled for 3 months, which is not a drug that you just stop taking. It's for anxiety and depression. Very good. Very good. You got your advocate. You hold on to your advocate, Christine. Buy them milkshakes when they come over, whatever it takes. You know what I mean? But so we go in there, and this nurse practitioner, this young kid, he couldn't be more than maybe 27, 28 years old. He looks at me and he says, I'm sure it wasn't the doctor's fault, when his medical license expires. No. When he retires, he doesn't cancel it's not like an annual membership. It doesn't expire. You're a doctor. You're always a doctor. You have a medical license to practice. Unless the state takes it away from you because you did something stupid, you are not going to lose your medical license. You could be a doctor till the day you drop dead. You can be a practicing physician until the day you drop dead. You just don't have an active practice. Doesn't mean you're not a doctor. You went to school, you did 4 years of regular college, 4 years of medical school, 4 years of internship, 12 years of education, 4 hours of nutrition, by the way. And then you practiced, whether it be in a hospital or a private practice or group or whatever it is, for as many years as you did. And then you decided, you know what, I'm going to retire. So someplace in your 60s, late 60s, early 70s, you say, I'm done. I'm going to retire. And you retire. That does not mean your license retires. You were licensed way back here, and you've had that license all these years. And you will have it until the day you die. Good. Keep fighting, Christine. Keep yelling, keep screaming, because you are the only person that will do it for you. Not true. I mean, if you yell at us, we'll call and yell for you. We'll be like, hey, why are you not taking care of her? You need to take care of her. Get your shit together, people. Because we'll annoy the crap out of them. I know I will. I know Michelle will. I think Marie's up there on that line too. And Mari, don't mess up. No, that girl is Hispanic. She will rip them a new one. Yeah, they can prescribe pain medication. They don't want to. And I get it. But you know what? Be afraid when you have somebody who comes in and who's in their 20s and is going, oh, no. Not an old person. We're old. We got enough problems. We don't need a freaking addiction. We just want the pain to go away. Yes, it does. It counts as continuing education. See, she won't listen to you bitch and complain, but she'll fight for you. I love you, Mari. Oh my God. Michelle's been on a pain management fiasco. California's horrible. Oh my God, they're so horrible. And her pharmacy is the worst. All right, what are we doing here? Did anybody decide this? I haven't seen anybody decide this. Somebody decide it. Are we going to put a backing on here? Or are we just going to put the belly band and leave it just the page? Now, there's really nothing connected to this other than here. And we can use washi tape to make that joint look a little bit more civilized if you guys don't like the joint. But that goes right there. So this page will have to be covered because that's where we have that cover, that thing. Somebody do this. So just put a journal card in here. Just put the belly band and put the journal card on. Is that what you think, Mari? Because I kind of like that idea, to be honest. We're going with it. All right. Get this in the middle-ish. Middle-ish. And put a clamp on it because, again, it's craft to craft. And craft to craft does not work very well. All right. So now we have this page, which is our front page. We're going to put some kind of a pocket or something over here because I'm not real thrilled with this. So we're going to put a pocket or something here. I do like this. I like the theme, apparently, because we got a lot of them. Gears and hot air balloons. All right, so then we have this, which is like gears and clocks. When you open this up, you got gears and clocks over here, and then we'll have a journaling card here. Then we have our 4 cards here. Flip that. Then we'll put paper here. We've got a nice big pocket, which opens to another flip. We got a lot of flips going in this one, guys. So we got our flip. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff. Okay, so we got our flip here. So we'll have paper here, something here. I don't know what we're going to put here. Maybe a pocket. Maybe a double pocket, or maybe we'll do our step pockets. I don't know. Maybe we'll do step pockets on this whole thing. That would look cool, wouldn't it? Like, you know, the little coin envelope pockets with like little tags in them. What do you think? Michelle lives in the boonies, up on a mountain that you have to drive down a road that goes like this. And then you get to her house and you have to kind of go down and up, and like right next to her house, cemetery. It's a historic cemetery, but cemetery. At least if she dies, she doesn't have far to go. You know, like if she dies, Mike can just put her on like a throw rug and drag her up the hill. She's right there. Love you, honey. She does though. She lives in the freaking boonies, guys. I was like, going to her house. I was like, okay, we got off. It was a little town. I was like, this is a cute little town. And then we got on this road that was just forever of nothing. Fields on both sides. Very narrow, one lane each direction type. And they called that a highway. And then we came into this little, like, really cute little town in the woods, really sweet little, like, cabins and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is really darling. And then we turned. And that road went down and there was a bridge over a lake. And I don't like to drive over water, but we did it anyway. We drove over this lake. And then all of a sudden the road just started going choo 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 choo. And I was like, holy crap. Like the speed limit was 30 and even I couldn't get to 30 going down this road. Wow. But yeah. So when you're all said and done, you come out and it's like all of a sudden, boom, there you're in her town. Which is kind of cute. It's like a little street. That's like the whole town. And there's two little motels. So we checked into the motel and I was asking the guy, I was like, where's the cemetery? I'm looking for the old cemetery. And he goes, oh yeah, it's right over there. And sent me in the wrong direction to the new cemetery. I was like, oh crap. So I put the address in and it was like, you're on the wrong side of the big street. Go over to the other side. So we went over to the other side. The McDonald's is a 30-minute drive from where she lives. And Hubbard had to have McDonald's because he was hungry. I was like, damn. They could have Uber, but it would be like hourly deliveries. You know what I mean? Like you have to call at the 6 o'clock hour to have your food delivered in the 7 o'clock hour because they go and they pick it all up at once and bring it into town. All right. So we're going to be putting a big journaling card here. I think this might fit. It's a little tall. We'll make it a little smaller. I just want to put a journaling card, like a piece of card in there, just to hold the place so that we know we got to come back there. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That'll work. Okay, so this will hold the place here. And then I do have to print paper because we're running out of paper to cover these things. And I need a lot. I need 2, 4, 5, 6 more pages to be able to cover everything and get past this part. Okay, so I'm going to put this up for now. And I'm saving all of these pieces because we can use these for journaling cards and stuff, you know, the smaller pieces. Oh. All right, so where is it? Here it is. So I have this piece. And I was thinking if we put this on, you know, as a flip on one of the pages, this is just a thought. We could put like a journaling card in here. We could put a journaling card in here. And in the other set, this one, you know, that had the tall pocket things, there's these cards. And I thought, let's try one. So I took one and I cut it down, right? And it fits in here. Just like this. And this actually fits on a page in this journal. And I was thinking, how cool is that? We would have like a pocket here and a pocket here. And then this whole thing would flip up and we would have a pocket here. You know? So I was thinking, and what I'm going to do is I'm thinking I'm going to probably gusset this so that this can go all the way in. Because we want it to go all the way in. Because we just want a little bit to hang out. So we have a lot of space here to cover and a lot of places to put together. But I think this will work in the book. So I'm just, you know, I'm working out the logistics of it. But basically we end up with 1, 2, 3 pockets. And then, you know, the flip where we could technically put another pocket right here. And we could put one of the smaller ones. We could put a smaller card in here. And that's why he was a chiropractor. So I think we're going to gusset this. We're going to cover this, this, and this. We'll cover this, and that's going to give us enough room to keep this intact so that it will fit in there. And then we'll have a journaling card here, a journaling card here. Flip it over. We'll have a pocket and have a journaling card in here. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I'm sticking a pin in it. We'll think about it. All right. So tonight we're going to be doing craft with me. I think I was going to do some tag things, but I decided, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to do some quick, easy greeting cards. Like how to design greeting cards with something like this. This is this is from K & Company. And let me see. This one is, I have no idea what this one's called. But it's all sentiments. It's like happy birthday and stuff and congratulations and that type of stuff. But it's from K & Company, and I thought, let's give it a shot. So we're gonna make some base cards tonight, and we're gonna decorate them using some of these things and some embossing folders and things like that. Just basic cards. We're not going to do anything special or spectacular. We're going to do fold over cards. And we're going to do Z folds. That's it. Those are the two easiest cards to do. We're going to do those. All right. So let's see. Where are we at? Today is the 5th already. Can you guys believe it? All right. So today is the 5th. And our third Projects of 26 challenge is a free play. You can make anything that you want, but you have to use crayons and or oil pastels or water soluble crayons or regular crayons or gelatos. Okay. All kind of the same thing. So we're going to do a craft with me tonight. Like I said, I think we're probably going to do cards, like basic cards that fit in regular size envelopes. Hi, Harry. Nice of you to come see us finally. Yeah. Nice of you to make an appearance. How you doing? Put your butt down. And then tomorrow we're going to be doing Friday Night Nuts, which is going to be on StreamYard. And Michelle's going to be here with me. We're going to see how that goes. And then we have mixed media. No, we do not have mixed media on Saturday because we have a sale on Saturday. Okay, so we're going to have our sale on Saturday. Probably not going to do mixed media because I'm not going to be able to get it done. I think I scheduled it for 3 or 3:30. I don't know yet. Specifically, I'm not sure the time exactly, but it's in the afternoon. And then, and that's on Saturday. And then Sunday, of course, we have our game. Here's the thing with Saturday. I have a banker's box full of paper, dyed paper, not mine, but I'm trying to get rid of it. So it's here. This is her stuff. This was the stuff that she pulled for herself. Okay. So there is a pack of oopsies and uh-ohs in there. There's a damaged pack. There's also some mixed packs where it's like paper cardstock. Some of it is like there are some mixed colors, but mostly it is straight colors, and it's like 10 sheets, and it's going to be dirt cheap, like $1. Okay. So we're going to have that. And I have quite a bit of it. And then we have some other stuff coming out as well. It'll be the last opportunity for anybody who wants the quarterly project to get that, which is, and it's actually cheaper because without the shipping, it's only $5, because you're going to have some other, you know, if you have something else, it's only $5 because you don't have to pay the extra in shipping. But yeah, it's going to be these, and it's, we're making pokey tools. And by the way, these are not the short ones, not this one. These are the ones that are 6 inches long, considerably larger than these little ones. So we're doing the bigger ones. What else? What else? And then Monday's video is a girly thing. Monday's video is, I have one right here. I'll show you. Monday's video is a girly thing. Frilly, lacy belly bands. Mm-hmm. I know. So weird. It was Rose. She rubbed off on me. It was a temporary thing. So that is what's going on right now. I'm going to take my blood sugar and take my nap because I did not sleep last night. Because my internet went down and I was like stressing because Mike told me that there was going to be an outage till like 6 or 7 this morning. And I was just hoping that they were going to get it all fixed back to where it was supposed to be. A car hit the line or something, they said. It was a car accident. It was a big car accident. I know there was. And I think it damaged the lines or something. But and it's fiber optic, which is a pain in the butt to get back together. And hi, baby. Oh. All right. Glue for this. Glue for what? Ow. Yes, you are going to need glue to craft tonight. All right. So that's it, guys. That's all I have. For the pokey tool, you can either use the glossy accents or any other clear drying glue. You can use even crazy super glue if you want to. So, but glossy accents is kind of the one that I use. But you can also use the Fabri-Tac or the 3-in-1. Any clear glue. E6000 works as well. So lots of those. We're going to get the... So I sent one out to one of the Patreons and it got returned, unable to forward. So I had put in a message to that Patreon, trying to get the Patreon to get in touch with me so that we could get them their piece, you know, their project, but they haven't gotten back to me. So I'm not going to hold everybody else up. As soon as we have the sale, it'll be the last chance for everybody to buy it. So we're going to schedule the day to get together and do them. Okay. They're very easy to do. They're basically they're all different. Like they're all different colors. You know, everybody got a different color. Like this one's purple and this one is like a blue teal greeny color. Some people got black and they were just a bunch of different colors. And you just got it at random. And that's pretty much the way it's going. Everybody's getting it at random. So we'll get a day together to do that. And we all come together usually either on Facebook or on StreamYard. Everybody gets together and we just kind of hang out and we put them together. But the basic build is the same on all of them. But that's it, guys. So if you're new here and you haven't done so already, hit the button and subscribe. Everybody's here all the time. But if you watch this later and you think I'm a weirdo and you like non-monetized, uncensored channels, this is probably a good place for you. If you want to know what's going on, get a schedule. You can pick that up here or on the YouTube, on the Facebook group, whatever you want. And what else? Go down there and cyber stalk me. Hit that more button at the bottom. I'm going to give you all my links, all my socials. Until I see you again, stay warm, stay hydrated, stay well, my friends. I love you guys, and I will see you soon, okay? Bye.